all this energy, crush the stream. So I don't think it's the content at this point. I think it's the sun doing it. So we had a little interruption. We'll try to get her going again, and we'll continue to talk about what we're doing out here at Silver Rock Ranch. Try to expand out that garden to the other side. Maybe we'll get up, move around. I don't know what kind of, signal we'll get. Again, the sun has been producing a lot of energy that it hasn't over the last 3 solar cycles. The magnetic canopy is decreased over the last, we're in 25 now, 4, 3, and 2, 20 cycle, 24, 23, and 22. We had a decrease in the energy output from the sun, and it decreased the magnetosphere, because as we get closer and the sun gets closer to us, between the heliosphere and the magnetosphere, those two come together. That makes this negation, because the heat negates magnetism. So we're definitely much closer. That's why the sun is the color it is now. Nothing's wrong with the sun. It's the magnetosphere is what's wrong, the failed magnetic umbrella. So we'll talk about that. Thank you, Father, for that, putting that magnetic field over the tops of our heads. And we won't talk about balls, that they're gods in the sky. They're just time markers, celestial markers in the firmament for us to grow food. And as always, people like to pervert that. But we'll talk about maybe a little bit about the celestial markers. You need to know how to grow food. You need to pay attention to the sun and the cycles, right? They have what is called the Farmer's Almanac. There's 2 of them. So you would pay attention. They pay attention to these things, such as the solar output from the sun. Farmers need to know if they can get a little ahead of the weather. They would know, that would help them. Like, hey, yeah, hey, if that hay gets rained on, alfalfa or Timothy hay, for example, or alfalfa, it would negate, it would, well, not completely, but it would bring down the price of that hay. So knowing when rain is coming, knowing the cold is coming, knowing the cycles is something that is not anew. They have grown from the cycle of the sun, and knowing the moon and the lunar cycles. Are we in the strawberry moon? The moon is as close as it's going to be for, I don't know, like another till 2040 something. I don't know. It's like in 18 point years, the moon, remember, comes to the same place of rest. So that's what those stones told us, but they knocked those down, didn't they? But let's not talk about that. All right, that's old news, right? But anyways, the strawberry, because this is the season to pick strawberries, and so the height of July, and it was all about food, gathering and growing and storing food. And at this time of the year, it doesn't have anything to do with the color of the moon. It has to do with the harvest season, growing food, people planted by the moon. And yes, many things were done by the lunar cycle. People are actually on a lunar calendar, pagan lunar calendar now, but not the Hebrew but anyway, let's not get into it. It's about growing food, and that's where this is food focused here, trying to produce abundance, not just survive, but thrive. So Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. And the expansion of this Silver Rock Ranch over to the local next little town over them in Silver Lake at Silver Rock Ranch. That's the Christmas where the sand dunes are at. Not snowballs, but sand dunes. But there's a hard, this is an off-grid ministry that's out here at Silver Rock Ranch. So looking to expand, to have better content, and get a lot of interruptions during the live stream, and poor quality and pixels. And some say I'm live streaming from a potato. But anyways, I only do a phone because I don't like to live around that energy. I'm energy, so I don't want that. I don't. It is what it is. You got to take the good with this bad, right? The interweb, the World Wide Net, boom, it could blow up in your face. Remember, these phones could be at any time remotely. No birthday next year, huh? But anyways, that's you're not supposed to celebrate birth anyway. So, but celebrate anything. But thanks for creating all things good and bad, and the Creator knows what's going on here. So, the expansion will be by His will, Thy kingdom come. That will be when the seventh seal, shofar, sounds, the ram's horn. So, the final trump. And so we're just going to keep marching until that final horse, the pale green of Revelation, shows rears its head. You can lead a horse to water. That's a good right there. That's something you should put in your grab bag. If a horse drinks water, that's safe for you to drink. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can lead a person to knowledge bliss, but you can't make them think. So they got to think on their own. Self will be done, and Father is the creator and the writer. So we got to give thanks for that. That's where the treasure's at. So He'll do things in He's already given and paved the way. So I just thought it'd be a good way to come do some backup again. I'm not sure if this says private or looks like not, because I've seen some numbers come in here. So I'm not sure what YouTube's doing with this algorithm, but that's okay. It's like a math problem, certain things filed in by number, and then by computing that over and over, you'll get the whatever they like or don't like. They can tag that as part of that rhythm and take you out of the cycle. Out you go. Negation. Cancellation, like the magnetic canopy field that's been going on above our heads. So that has a lot to do with it too. How much maybe a connection. Are you connected to the grid or to the web, to the World Wide Net? So that's what I was talking about. Oh, you're fine. You guys have been in and out like kids. These are my kids out here in the desert. Got my puppies. So how are you pets acting? Are they acting normal? We got one that's pretty normal. The other one's just been in and out. Normally likes to stay outside in the summer, and hang out and bake in the sun. And there he is looking at me right now, wanting to come inside. So something's going on with that sun, eh? Yeah, same sun. It's the magnetic canopy that's failing. It's failing. It's failed. It's failed. The magnetic canopy has failed. It's negated. It's canceled. We're having massive bombardment by protons, ions, plasma, electrons. So it's electric. Solar radiation. Hold on, let me let these dogs in. Man, I am spoiling the heck out of them. Letting them in. I should just make him stay outside. He's going to sit out there and whine. He's got those take me home eyes. Like a little puppy. He's 13 years old, but he thinks he's a little baby puppy. If I shut the door, would you still whine? Dad, just letting the air come in. This is the best part of the day here. So, all right, let's turn on the live chat. Let's see if we can get some chat going and try to spark that algorithm. All right, we're back here. Looks like we're getting some kind of signal. And again, just going to try to spend a little time in here on the backup channel. Whoop, everybody's gone. Oh, we'll be back. What a very strange day. Come on. You guys are like having kids, you know that? Just like having kids. 2 kids. Our puppies. It did go private? Oh, okay. Well, I didn't do and change that when I just came back on here. Thanks for checking in with me again, Storm. It's the calm before the storm. We do not conform outside of the norm. No, we do not uniform, huh? We do not conform. All right, outside of the norm is the calm before the storm. All right, thanks for coming in again. There's the longer the longer the calm, the harder the storm, baby. Try to remember that with cycles. That's the way it always works. I'm a cycle guy, remember? So I didn't change that last one, but that's okay. I think we'll get somebody else to talk in here, see if we can get just one other body. It's weird too, because on this channel now I've had, like it says 14, 15 subscribers, and they're not going to the channel. We're not picking up the subscriber count, and it's okay. It's all right. Whatever. No worries. And it's about quality, not quantity, right? So I'd rather have the you guys are back and forth through there. Hold on, I got a puppy going. I always do that. So anyways, thanks for coming back in. Again, a little update, just trying to, maybe we'll go outside or something, and I got to get this figured out why this won't, like I said, or I've showed 14 people in the room earlier. Okay, yeah, no, I haven't been really having, the magnetic canopy has failed. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, okay. The magnetic canopy, or even if you hear, even if it's just you, Storm, I've remember been doing this for, a dozen years on this platform, and had half a dozen, channels. And so even in the beginning, I always said, if one person hears it, America Ever After, we're here, we made it. This is the time that I was speaking of. So I'm going to try to just use whatever time I can here. I have lots of things that need to be done at the ministry, but I'm hoping that, Father will expand this out and looking for more people. And, I've been trying to do that for over a decade. So about as long as because I had this dream, not dream, just whatever, come out here, live off the grid and not have any cost of living, get it to zero. No more Walmart. Made it pretty simple back then. Don't want to ever go to the Piggly Wiggly, the Walmart, the store. Do it all yourself. Become self-sufficient. Get off the grid. So that's what I've been doing for 10 years at this ministry, and now it's all paid off, and I'm excited to expand. Yeah, I think shower. Do all stretch. Nice. Yeah, stay up. It's a difficult time, things I am sure are going to get more expensive when all these dollars come home to roost. It's going to hyperinflate everything in this country. It's just already super expensive and taxed on federal and state. You got gross and net, and it makes you sick, doesn't it? So any little cost is just so inflated. Look at the price of that strut, 2 or 3 years ago, a year ago, 5 years ago. It's inflated. Everything has just become, even our time is really getting hard to come by, if you will. So here we are, America Ever After. So keep your mind focused on the prize. It's the word. It's always about the word. Remember, it's always about his afterlife. After you pass of this meat suit, you're going to get to be free of the weight. And he pours out all the just measure when he returns. So any pain he heals, and any wrong he rights. So, yep, eye on the prize, focused in the word, be in the world, right? But be not of it. So stay in the word. Hallelujah for that. Thanks for always for coming in and sharing your time, because that's valuable. That's more valuable than gold and silver, if you ask me. You can't eat time, and you can't, time, it's got to eat, but can't make it, right? Can make something to eat. Can't print time. So not possible. Can't get it back. Oop, there it goes already. Oop, gone behind you. So what are you worried about what's behind you for? Stay focused, right? No, hey, the cycles. I love we don't want to trip over the woes of past. So again, thought I'd just throw up, so a little bit of a time. I don't want to spend all day on here, but we've already struggled to have, good connection. So thanks for reporting. I'm not sure why, again, that it's doing what it's doing with I didn't even look on this one to see. I think I'm pretty sure I always make it um, public. It's a public, so I'm not sure. Again, it must be something in the settings, and I've already gone into the channel settings and looked on the editor, and it's set on public. So I'm not sure why it keeps kicking it over to private. Maybe there's something. I'm not sure. It don't matter. So, but thanks for coming in. Appreciate everybody always spending time talking about things that are relevant. Not the bread and circus. There are real things that are happening, and we really are, in a third world war. We're on a rock for sure. I don't know if it's a block or a ball. It don't matter. I'm not spinning around at 1,040 miles an hour. But some people tend to think they are, and that's okay. You can't turn a goat into a sheep. So it was already chosen. Thanks for that. And so again, wanted to throw a little time on this since I have a little bit of time to spend, because this ministry is what's the most important. And again, little plug in the backup Silver's Like Gold channel is a good thing to do. And either whether we just keep the regulars here or not, it doesn't hurt to just throw it out into the place and space and time and ether, because you can't get it back. You can't take back the words that I said. Can't take back the thoughts in my head. Can't take back that he already hung on a tree. Can't take that from me. Can't. Father put it on my heart. He wrote it on fleshy tables, not altars. That was all physical law, and I'm not under that. So, by destiny. So, like fine gold and silver, we're supposed to be refined. It's a refiner's fire. He has eyes and feet of fire, as fine brass or bronze, is burnt or burnished, or yes, in a furnace by fire. But is the word, that's the fire right there, baby. We'll do a little slang, right? You got the fire. Thank you so much for the treasure that you couldn't put in a shredder, you couldn't measure with a calculator. Not commas in a safe, but being punctual, like don't add a jot. How about that for treasure? Once again, treasure you couldn't measure. Treasure, not the kind that folds you put in a shredder. Not the kind you could burn, remember? Feet of fire, eyes of fire. Good stuff. Thank you, Father, for the ability to speak in this time, place, and space. I don't have a bunch of people in my space and that I have open. I can hear that word and have time to be with the word. In the beginning was the word, and it was all spoken into existence. So since the always and ever beginning, overlapping time, eternal time and place and space that never ends, that's where I'm at. Thank you for that. So we'll just, at least where it's sticking, we're not getting any eyeballs or ears to hear, but maybe there'll be one. It doesn't matter. You already know. You already chose. No sco to have foreknowledge of from the foundation. Maybe from the world, right? World, is that why they think they're corkscrewing? A corkscrewing galaxy? There used to be a game, Galaxy, and they had Pong. Pong. Are you from the Pong before Pong? And they had many games. They had Roman games. How about those games? But all right, let's get back to this. Since we got a goose egg in here, an egg worship, uh, Ishtar, talking about the stars. We'll talk about that pagan lunar calendar. So, for the sake of time, place, and space, well, I'm using my space right here and this place right here, and there's nobody in my space, but that's okay. We're keeping Father, he's the one who makes the sun. He created both of them. So we give thanks to that. First of all, the SON, right? They declared him the Lamb of God, the only begotten Son. The SON. And, well, that SUN there, it gives us that stripping away a negation of the magnetic canopy that's protecting this rock from the sun. And that's failed. So, all right, I don't know what's going on with this algorithm. Maybe I kept it private. Maybe we'll end this one. I don't remember checking that block. So maybe we'll just change the title too. Maybe he doesn't like the title. So it doesn't matter. Take it up with Father. I didn't do it. He's the creator of all things. The author, the writer, and the editor. He made a new covenant with his bride, so I think that may be what's going on here. Up in here. You didn't check the block, man. You're off the mark. Oh, that'd be a sin. The word karak or character or mark. To sin is to be off the mark. Your character. So we'll put a couple of short bursts. Maybe people will come and see. They'll have an eye to see. It'll be an apocalypse for them. The veil, the scales will be lifted from their eyes. They'll have an eye to see. An eye to see. And it will not fall on deaf ears. They'll have an ear to hear and an eye to see. The veil will be lifted off of their eyes like the scales, like the serpent in the garden, Leviathan, that hood, that halo. Like we got zero. Zero's a placeholder. It doesn't exist in time. There is no zero. There is no 1,000 millennia. That is not a thing. But a creation of man made. Zero is a placeholder in time, but never existed in time. Well, before now, many things don't exist in the original time. And if I'm eternal, it's my time, my place, my space. So nobody in my space, but that's okay. He put me in this place on this rock. So where I will be is I'll be here standing beside myself. I was already took over power of attorney of my straw man, my merchant man, my merchandise. So here I am standing here beside myself. It sounds like a little bit short circuit right there. I'm standing here beside myself. All right. Hey, are you standing in? If you go by a corporation, you'll be judged as a corporation. Are you a corp? Are you dead? Are you dying to self daily? To self, being born from above? Not in the sky, but daily. That means every day. So, got to carry that crucifixion burden every day. Not to be loved, but hated by the world. Do not hate the sinner, but hate the sin. Not supposed to love sin. Not supposed to let it just flourish. The only thing it takes for evil to flourish is for good men to stand around and do nothing. We'll shorten that one up. Maybe that's what's going on here. And I know it's a very small oligas channel. So we'll run her again and see. We'll go check, and because I don't see anybody coming in here. Hey, there's somebody. Did it say this is a private? Is this private? Did it say this is a private? Do you have any way to check? Is this a private live stream? This is open to adults. Oh, that we lost him. It's supposed to be fishers of men. Father creates all things. So don't worry. Don't try to bring anybody to God, to Father the Most High. I am. He said, if I did not call out to their hearts to seek after me, not one of them, not one would. So there I am, where our 2 or 3 gathered in my Shem, my Agape, my authority, my midst, there I will be. That is in their midst. So, hey, what's going on? Focus now. Concentrate. Are you in a private chat? Is this a private chat or is this a public chat? Hopefully it's public. If it's open to the public, we'll keep it open. If not, we'll shut her down. This is a public only. It's not for private. We're not keeping it private. You're supposed to share. So what that would be very nice to keep it, when there's some good food you want to share, right? If you make some good food, or if you know where there's a good restaurant at, where there's any good Mexican or Hispanic buffets, by the way, since we're doing it live. We're doing it live. We're broadcasting. That means to sow seeds. So, orchestrate like Hollywood. No, this isn't for fame or fortune. We're just trying to feed, feed the masses. It's a World Wide Web, right? On the internet. So let's click the live. Let's see if we got a live chat. Let's click the live chat on. Maybe somebody's chatting and we don't know. All right, live chat. We're doing it live again. All right, with live chat. Hey, there's a second. We got a second witness. You're always supposed to have a second witness, or 2 or 3 gathered in my authority. So is this a private? Is anybody speaking? Are we going to spark the algorithm? Not much conversation going on this other end of this live stream. Do you need bread and circus? You need entertain? Buck, is it private? Good to see you. Thanks for returning back. Man, talk about a shot. You got buck fever? Maybe you need a shot. Maybe you need a sticker. How much flu would a flu shot stop if a flu shot could stop flu? I don't know. Maybe you just got buck fever. Good to see you back. Is this say it's private? I think I didn't click I've been having an issue with this backup live stream. I think I'm only seeing the regulars, but sometimes it throws some other people in here, then it throws them out. These more jabs. Jabba dabba do. I'm going to bow to the altar of Jabba and Anakin Skywalker. Speaking of the Skywalker, all right. God's in the sky. But thanks for coming in, Buck. Even if it's private, we can have a private conversation. But I just opened it up. Like I said, I'm going to expand the ministry out, get some more ability to get a better internet connection too. There's a lot of reasons why I've kind of jumped the, no, it's public. Okay, cool. We're going to leave it. We're going to leave her ripping then. We'll just do it live. We'll broadcast. Broadcast means to sow seeds. So like the mustard seed, we'll plant even the smallest, and the Father will let it, if I did not call out to their hearts. So we're not doing it. Father makes us plant the seeds. So fishers of men, what are you fishing with? Seeds and light. So anyways, you catfishing? All fish, all flesh. He separates the wheat from the chaff, if you will. He's the one who separates that. We're supposed to just be the net. We're not to be the one who condemns, that does the harvesting, right? We're just out there being fishers of men. A net not knows what it catches. It just does the job of the net. All right, I'll leave it for that. Thanks for coming in. We had Storm in here earlier. Now we got Buck returning. So I'd put a buck on that. A buck, like America, makes no sense. So 100 of those cents make a buck. Like deer nuts or beer nuts. How much do they come under a deer or under a buck or in a bag or under a buck? You tell me. What the? Hey, now, brown cow. A cow is a bull. No, a cow has horns. No, cow doesn't have horns. That'd be bull. You could be that'd be an elk. That'd be a bull, not a buck. A buck is a deer. Remember? Deer nuts or beer nuts. They come in a bag or under a buck. We're just, somebody's got buck fever. Remember, I told you already. They must have taken the Jabadooski. Must got that rotting, like hole in the head disease, like Oscar. Not like beat, like a in the head like De La Hoya, but like the disease in a tank. Like if you contain water, like under the sea. Ocean? All right. Hashtag ice wall, but we won't go there. Go hashtag beyond the ice wall and you can go to outer space. So you know what I'm saying? Because I've had Oscars too. Man, that's a hard, I would never, I liked them because they got all big or whatever. But the whole feeding schedule and the whole feeding them goldfish, and they're just, there's a lot better fish, cichlids to take care of than, I'm not saying that I don't. I had an albino and I had, whatever I took care of fish almost my whole life. One of the few times in my life, hey, when we get the ministry, we get a fish tank going. There we go. Because that's got a constant power source. So there we go. We'll do the ministry fish tank. Cool. Yeah, no, I know why people like them. I did. I enjoyed them. I did them for a few years, and I really enjoyed watching them grow out and, having them, and had obviously, a couple other large, I think I had a huge bushy nose pleco. It's hard to actually have to find those to get very big, but this thing got monster sized bushy nose pleco. And I had one other large fish that they did fine with, but they were the show stoppers of the tank, yeah, they were definitely, and then watching them grow out, you get to throw all that money at them and then you get to watch them, and add them in a big tank, I think, what I have in a 125, I think it was. I don't think it had 150 at the time. Yeah, my son's mom, she was really upset on 9 fish tanks in the kitchen, in the living room, and in the bedroom. And I think the only place we didn't have one was in the bathroom. So she said, one more tank, and one of us is going to go. It's either one more tank and I'm leaving. So that's all right. Couldn't reach a dozen, but did like to do blow my money on fish tanks because they were better than cable television. I threw my cable TV away in the 90s and decided to do fish tanks. So they were much more. My son, remember being in high school, Dad, I'm the only one in high school that's never had cable. Please, can we get cable? Like, we got fish tanks. I want to hear it. So go watch fish tank or something. But man, what an entertaining way to blow a bunch of money. And you know what I'm saying? About if you're, so I've always enjoyed it. I've done so many reef and tropical, and my favorite definitely were the cichlids. I like the cichlids. They're just gorgeous. You can get them to, they're obviously not a saltwater fish, so they're not going to bring the color of a goby or something like that, like a mandarin goby, but you can get some, those peacock, and we'll just say that the cichlids were, and that's what's pretty cool. I believe the Oscars are a part of that cichlid family. And so cichlids were my choice. They're spunky and they beat the snot out of each other. They're kind of like a bunch of hens in a hen house, and you got to get them in groups and stuff, be successful. I bred them out and did angelfish, kind of, there's another cichlid, but they're definitely were my favorite, the Victorian and the, Malawai, and the, there's a lot of, just out of Lake Victoria. There are so many, but they're just so beautiful. And like those blue peacocks, I mean, that's a base that somebody's seen before that just grows out and has that, their scales get to near, I mean, they look like a saltwater fish. So much less maintenance. And I pretty much can get my tanks to where I don't do anything to them because I don't sit there and mess with them. I learned when I was really young to keep your hands out of the tank as much as possible. You're adding to the tank. Don't mess with if you get the right filtration system, the filter needs to build up its own, filtration through the algae in the system itself. You don't want to keep cleaning filters. That's what a filter does, as it builds its own. I've done it lots of different ways, but went through all of it, and I found just actually not, I'd run sand in the bottom of my tank. So because I did cichlids, and I did it with the tropical too. I'd run sand at my base underneath any substrate, and I didn't get all that yuck, muck, nastiness. It stayed out of the tank, and it just filtered itself out. I mean, I have a little bit, but I didn't get that. I don't do the whole very often vacuum my tank and add more water and do all that topping, and pulling water changes. And nah, the water should build up its own, filtration through whatever. If you're going to do a hanging or wheel, like I really like the bio wheel and some of that, or the Magnum 250. I remember that canister. That's the one that the fish tank, yeah, that's the way. Let it run. Man, why are your tanks so clear? Leave them alone. It's kind of like, I don't mean to go there, but it's kind of like the way I've been a medicinal cannabis grower. And if you overdo it with those two, they do the same thing. They don't do too well. You just make more problems. It's like people, these hypochondriacs that think something's wrong with them, and they get more and more of the pharmakia, the snakes up the pole, so big farm guy gives them the sticker, the great Jabadooski, and they get this, they get farmed out, and they get the effect, to get scripted, and then they get the effect. Next thing you know, got that 7 day a week, taking the tabbies, all that poor. Ugh. But anyways, yeah, same thing. People throwing that stuff at their fish tank, anything. Ladies are like that. If you overdo it, man, I tell you what, they don't do well. They need to have their own time, their own place, and they'll tell you what they need. I mean, you can give them things that, if you know what they need, but generally, if there's something, they'll identify, and that's kind of, you let the tank too tell you what it needs. It should tell you eventually if there's something going on, but normally if it gets set up, you know what you're doing after you've done some of these things for a little while, they do better if they're more left in an organic state. Organic is better than man-made any day of the week. So heck yeah, that goes for all, everything. So yeah, good conversation. Appreciate that. And I always appreciated that I had the time to enjoy my tanks. Not always. Now I love to stick my hands in there and flip stuff around, but I really try to keep it a minimum, adding a lot of different kind of decor. Kind of was addicted to building out those tanks to make them look as natural with bogwood, and really tried hard to find the most natural looking plants, silk and things like that were, I don't mind putting plastic in the tank, but I'm just saying, because they can make, things look it is, the age we live in, they can make robots, they can make things look just like, but putting those in the tank, creating the most natural effect, that I always was one of those, trying to make it look like it was something you saw down, and when they were in there, not, this whole rainbow colored plants. And I had some of those, yeah, it's fun, establishing that tank. Yeah, I did my first little floppy little, bubbles and the whole, doing the whatever, when you do your first tropical tank or something like that, you get something other than the most ammonia fish that there is, a freaking goldfish. They I got a higher ammonia concentrate than a whale. That's the last fish people should have, is goldfish, right? But anyways, you do better with, almost nearly, get a beta, get a beta. Hey there, maybe you could get a beta, Buck. If you don't have a fish, get a beta. Go on there, buddy. You have been, you don't need, you are like, this dog has been definitely changed since the sun popped us with that. Something's changed with the magnetic canopy. There's something coming through that sun that's got this dog. He wants in, he wants out, he wants in, he wants out, he wants in. He just can't be settled. So he's all right. But anyways, no, I remember too, Buck, I remember my fish, people were like, dude, your fish are insane, dude. Your fish know when you're down the street coming home. They start acting, and they're just doing the normal fish stuff. Oh, nice. Yeah, these dogs catch it all out here, but see, they haven't even been kind of doing their regular thing. I mean, Tango has, but yeah, the dog's a little bit off. But I don't know about you, Buck, but I learned, from when I don't remember when I learned that, but I learned it very just by, I guess, by trial and error. That no, somebody had showed me that. Somebody had actually showed me that. I remember it was somebody who had a private fish store, and I really young in the game, had taught me that I noticed his fish were super responsive in all his tanks at the store. I'm like, how do you get your fish to do that? Because most fish are skittish when I go up to other fish tank, and I notice a lot of the times you don't struggle with catching the fish. Uh, There you go. So you know what I'm saying, Buck. So what I would do, people are like, "What's going on in your fish tank?" Well, every time I would feed my fish, I'd bang on the tank, and I don't mean hard on the tank because they got hearing and stuff, but get them used to the noise, get them used to the sound. And so every time I bang on that tank, right? Whoosh. And Oscars I do if you've had more than just Oscars, because obviously they know if you come home with a bag of goldfish or some feeder fish, they're on it. I mean, they got senses like a dog too if you've done more. But I could get nearly all the fish to do it. People, how do your fish do that? Because normally when you go up and bang on the tank, the fish, sure, your fish are all, hey. Why do they do that? They're not like the normal fish, because a lot of fish, if you kind of tap on the tank, they're skittish and they don't associate. Well, if you do that, like, tap on the tank, they associate that fish, food with sound and movement and noise. And so anytime, and obviously Oscars are going to be not, I'm saying that's just going to almost happen naturally. But I do remember people telling me, I don't know if we lost you in there, or at least this is you're not in the count. Oh, you're back. So, but I don't know what's going on with the stream. But anyways, was always enjoyable. People were like, dude, how do your fish know that you're home? Dude, come on, man. These things are animals. They're alive. I feed them. I watch these tanks and enjoy these better than cable television. And threw that away. I don't need cable. I have internet. Why are we going to watch anything? The kid can rob anything off. He knows how to do all that stuff. And he walk right into that VCR. Had been blinking 12 for 15 years or something and make it go pro. He make your radio, change the radio and you clock in the car. I can't even get that darn thing to work. And let alone, he's like, what are you talking about? It turns blue and orange, red. Yeah, it changes colors too, Dad. So they know how to program all that stuff. They're super. They've got it all already in them. They come preloaded, if you will. So, but anyways, I appreciate the conversation, Buck. Like I said, it's having a fish tank is an enjoyable experience, and like I said, you can blow your money on a lot of things, and no matter what, it was always money well spent. We're not robbing my mind with a bunch of nonsense crap of the world. These were things where I was enjoying watching these fish and flourish and bred out many strains and even traded and sold fish. Yeah. And yeah, I appreciate, like I say, we got a bump on the other stream but whatever. We'll be back up, so it's okay. Like I said, I need to get some things done here at the ministry anyways. I'm trying to hold on to these precious metals that I have, but I don't think I'm going to be able to keep them. And I know this guy said he'd take payment for them, and I've got to, it's by contract. So I got to do what it says on the contract. And take a crap or get off the pot. That's what my dad always told me. They're sayers and doers. So self-motivated, get up off your fourth point of contact and make her happen. So Father's already done that and will provide. I'm just trying to pad these pieces for the flip side of the contract. But I'm okay, because on the flip side of the contract, I put it in payments, and I don't want to do payments. I want to get this guy paid off and have all the things he needs to get him on his way. And then again, at the ministry, it can have a fish tank, and it'd be cool. We can do a kind of a fish tank update. That'd be kind of cool, part of the ministry, because I don't have a constant, power source here, and I fluctuate because I'm off the grid in power. I don't think a tank would do well out here. It's just not the environment for that place. Is a, it's different. It's a home. It is a single wide, but it'll keep we keep temperature in there. It's not gonna, and I'm hoping to get a content help to pull somebody else out here to create content for the ministry. I really need somebody that's savvy with tech and can help create content, and I can offer them housing, lodging at that location to help, create this studio and produce more content and bring into the ministry what I hope that Father through this is providing through the works of, not just my hands, but others will help be able to provide. We need more people, a couple more at least. Talk to Kevin about getting at least 2 or 3 more people out here, make it a team effort, and enjoy, this dark sky sanctuary, and keep this ministry serving and have it, I know this is the backup channel, but, as long as it's providing food, I want to send food to the, we got about 50,000 spam. Wow, this phone's acting crazy. That just went to refuse the call and it opened the call. That's weird. Spam on it, but that's okay. I think it started when I changed car insurance companies, so that's what happens. End up giving your number out on the internet, and they'll spam you with something. But anyways, looking forward to maybe pulling a couple, 2 or 3 more people out here who want to live a more organic lifestyle, get off the grid and start learning how to create their own power source, water source, heat source, solar, wind, well, water storage, and all these things, growing their own food so that they can have time and create the abundance. It's possible. I know it is. People are doing it. There are many people in areas looking for people to do these type things as well that are deeply rooted, and some people are even like growing food in their neighbor's backyard and renting because they're not doing anything, and they've got a little small plot, but their neighbors got just, or some don't, are renting out somebody's backyard or a place or space, or there's community gardens or something to create this food abundance, and with the increase, with the price of eggs and stuff, there's so many people have moved into knowing that, hey, it even cost me more to get the eggs at this point, but because I got the upfront cost, but man, I'm getting an organic egg now, and I'm eating something that doesn't even come close to a store-bought egg. Raising your own food is rewarding. Raising your own, meats, vegetables, fruits is a rewarding thing. So hopefully Father will provide the people to be a part of that. And I know there's been a couple like Don and Kinetic again, that'd be, I'm not sure, Don, what's going on with him, but a good fit for the ministry. I'm hoping people that have been here for a minute. I don't want people just willy-nilly coming out here because I don't want a bunch of people coming out. The ministry will do whatever it's supposed to do, but there can be an abundance created through this underground geothermal garden source that I will have to get up off my 4th point of contact here in the next, day or 3, and try to get, getting some block work done and some concrete work while I can, while the weather is beautiful. Like outside right now, it's just gorgeous. And hopefully Father will provide Field of Dreams. I've always had that, and that this isn't in vain, and that it's always been part of the bigger picture. I just need to be more patient. It took Noah 126 years to build the ark. I don't plan on being here for no 126 years, but that I'll be providing this vessel that through this high desert faith and truth, it can continue to provide after bodies are long gone, and maybe it can generationally provide a place to provide organic food in a climate where you can, potentially, we'll see how far we can push this geothermal garden, how much food can be grown, and where's the limits on, tropical condition. What kind of conditions can we create a condition in there to mimic a certain grow zone, because again, in like an indoor environment, it just changes. It's not when you're geothermal, when you're under the ground, and so uh, we can then maybe induce a little heat, a little cooling. I have some ideas for venting, because we have the whole other um, shelter next to it, and how much sun it's going to get, and the way the sun hits it is going to be a factor. And so excited to get that up and going, and it takes more bodies than just me, and I'm sure Kevin and I can do it. So I told him too, eventually we're going to have to get going, get him in the mindset, and I got him looking for the roofing material. He sent me some information on some of it the other day. I think maybe it's called Solex or something like that. I think that maybe, but it's something to provide a hail, you know, covering for hail, to make sure we can still get, you know, this food grown and not want to lose it, because it's got, hailstones coming through plastic, although we're going to probably do a plastic, it's not going to be that, Mylar, or it'll be that, so it's going to take bodies, like I said. So, but that was the whole idea too, of getting this um, property up here in town, is to have that freeze dryer. So when we have extras, that we don't waste anything. I would rather freeze dry than can, or I'd rather really just keep it all fresh and freeze dry all that stuff fresh. And I'm not saying, because right now, if you can make things such as tomato sauce, tomato paste, ketchup, it's going to be worth the time, because it's probably later, it's going to be better to have it provided now. It's not going to get cheaper or easier with time or space or place to make these things. So that's kind of the neat thing about having that property up there. It has a full kitchen, so that property can provide the place to have the freeze dryer, to do the preparedness, to get it into the Mylar bags and then sent out. Was again, hopefully this is what Father's working to me, to everybody, like send some to Buck. We grew, we had bring in, see, I've moved the chickens out of here because I have too much time, space, and the ducks, it's been separated, because I eventually want to do duck eggs and chicken eggs, and have more than just that, send rabbit and lamb and goat, if you eat that, to the ministry, to people within High Desert Faith and Truth. And that's the whole idea. That's it. Just an interlooping food creation back to people tithe, and it goes back to them through food. So if they can tithe through, that's what I'm saying. That's why I had this donation thing. If somebody wanted to make a donation, I'm going to do it here. I'll continue to do it. Because again, remember, I have, I'm going to try to, secure these other pieces of precious metal to move this expansion, not just through this, through town, through this 20 acres here, and expand it down to South America at the equator, so we can grow star fruit and guava, papaya, and avocados, and all these things that are not going to be very conducive to grow in this environment, even under a geothermal controlled environment. Put a plant in the sea down there, and it'll grow. So, and I think we'll have abundance, to other access to other chickens, sheep, and the same thing that I'm going to try to create there. I'm going to try to create there, and then do the same thing. Might be a little tougher there, because I don't know where the local, post office is there to send it out, but I'm sure it can be done, and it'll provide. And through this, hopefully, through this ministry down there, it'll provide jobs down in South America. The average, wage in Ecuador is like $500 a month. So I'm sure this ministry can generate enough funding through both of these to create jobs down there for the local people, and provide food for them. Um, yeah, don't remember, Buck. It's not anything that anybody has to do. This is, Father is going to provide. So remember, I'm so blessed, to be a part of this until I die. I want this, hopefully not just through me, this ministry to provide when I'm gone. there's, I got things going in my life that I can get stuck behind uh bars or something, behind walls or something, and be doing the work there. This ministry needs to continue. I need bodies here. I need people to make this thing work, man. You know what I'm saying? And I got Kevin here. So that's why I kind of keep pounding on Kevin a little bit about, and I'm trying to let Kevin, he needs his time here to get, and Father's given me the blessing to have him here. And he's set on go. I'm sure if I, yeah, whatever it is, where Father's going to put me, I'm going to do his work, no matter if it's to a guy next to me, a celly with one guy, or I'm in general pop or whatever. I'm just never going to stop doing his work. I'm saying it's on video, around the table. Why is he always writing stuff down? And that's whatever. So, no matter what, I would hope that he'll unchain me, and none of this will, I don't fear. Remember, I'm not under the law of flesh. I don't go by corporation. And if I get prosecuted for that, well, they threw him in jail for that. So, standing against the halakha and the haggadah. So I don't even, I'm trying to be like him. He said, conform to my image, follow after me. So I'm doing what he tells me to do. This is what he makes me do. So, but I'm more diverse, man. I'm a man of many hats, and I got a lot going in my, my little Pastor Revelation's world here. Is not an easy world to live in, but it is a world that he can keep me going. He gets my butt up every day. He's the one who saves me, lifts me, sozo, carried, picked up, lifted from beginning point, ending point, heal. All the pain I'm feeling, he's going to heal it. I told you, he'll pour out a just measure. He'll right all the wrong. So I'm not trying to take. Whenever he say to pour out a just measure, if I take from anybody, Buck, that's not, from anybody. So I try to give. I joined the military at 17 years old. I mean, I'm not trying to sit there and plead my case, but I chose to serve. Okay, I'll give up my life for the cause. Sure, why not? I mean, hey, I'm only here for a country minute, so I'm eternal. I figured out young that I don't really ever die, and that shouldn't even be here. I kind of like quantum leaped into the wrong body or something. Like, hey, this isn't me. I don't do all these things. I'm not like my brothers. Why do I look like them? I don't act like them. Nobody ever, just all the crazy things from a young age. So I'm thankful that it doesn't matter where he has me. Again, my bigger thing's been going on with my son and my daughter, but I think I'm going to file that missing persons report here very soon. I'm trying to let fathers Tango, you just were out there. I got a witness, online here. You want to go in and out every 5 minutes. I can't help you, buddy. You're going to come knock the stream. Bang. And then ready. Come back through. Here we go. I know it's the sun is messing with you, huh? You got to knock the stream down. So it's okay. Again, the ministry hopefully will, here at High Desert Faith and Truth, and expand and just produce food. That's it. It's not some wild ministry. Obviously, people will have to be in the narrow way and part of this ministry, just like Grace and Truth, to have, tithes sent to them. But, a tithe was about food before. It wasn't about money. And although this day and age, they've kind of changed. Because remember, when they were wandering in the desert, they were leaving food behind for the people. It wasn't just one exodus out of it. It was over time. It was 40 years. Remember, they wandered. So they left food, unleavened bread, that feast of unleavened bread, those feast of ingatherings. These are all, these are noting again that they didn't have time when they were on the road to put leaven and let it rise. They had to eat it without leaven, and a tithe is food. So that's where he has my brain skull set, my body to pick me up and lift me, at least for this point, to do the mouth. And I will. I'm a body. I have so many things here that are so far into this, works that I'm thankful that he's gotten and pulled this far. And look at, here I am trying to, make it grow already when I don't even have what's here finished. But the bodies will come when it needs to be here. And so, but the whole side of it is a holistic, organic ministry that provides food for its ministry, its bodies within the ministry, and it's worldwide. So it needs to be sent out. And if it's worldwide under this covenant, all flesh, then it needs to be in both the northern and southern hemisphere. So I'm hoping he'll expand it on both sides of the equatorial regions so we can provide that abundance, and he'll provide the body. So I am looking for somebody who is tech content creator, somebody who can help pull this ministry through the tech side, do the things I'm doing on this side. Content creation is not that difficult, but if it's something you're not familiar with, you probably have to be shown. If it's something you're already familiar with or tech, you can just step right into something like this. But then I'd always find that somebody's, more a person more than just one hat, although I'd really need somebody to be able to do that. Heck, this is your living space you're living in. You want to continue to fix this space up, it needs and improve it so that again others can use it. And that property there in Christmas Valley, it's a very large property compared to the other properties. So just extra space. And it's kind of weird because it's on a triangle of all things, but there's another spot over there where we can put a little expansion so we can have more people again, be able to use this space for the ministry, for lodging and housing, and that's another thing that I'm hoping this ministry can provide is eventually people will have their own space out here. I'm continuing to work towards, getting this manifesto this written up so we can, do a full non-taxation I don't think I'm going to do the 501c3. That's where I'm struggling with this logistics of the, I don't want to be able to have to take donations and be reported and all that. And, I'm working with another ministry on this to try to get this done and how to figure it out to do it the right way so that I don't have to involve the government in any of it, and that it can't be taken by taxation. I'm not sure if people are paying attention, but they really like that one house now that's in California. I think it was in Monterey or something like that. The taxes went from $15,000 to $90,000. So this place over here has taxes on it, and I don't want to get out taxed on anything, and so I need to try to provide, and real things that are going on, not behind anybody's back or anything. This is part of the ministry. This is what it does. This is what it provides. And that up there shouldn't be an issue because it's already a residence. It's already zoned as a residence. Having people stay there is not going to be an issue. They could probably put a couple people up there easily and have lots of space and have separation and other ways. Maybe put another cabin up there too in town. Maybe people want to just stay in town, and there's plenty of it is a largest dark sky sanctuary. There's no, blinking yellow light out here or anything. So although it's not the view of the stars out here, it is out here, where we're at here in Silver Lake. In this town over here, it is an amazing view of the stars over there. So that'd be another thing too, just so much to offer to the ministry. People could come here and visit this largest dark sky sanctuary, as part of the ministry, this celestial, this is a celestial ministry, whether I like it or not. It is part of the stars, sun, and moon, the signs that he gives us. And this is a great place to see the firmament above your head. Probably one of the best places to see it in anywhere on this rock. So what another great place for the ministry to be able to add, again, that source of producing content for the ministry. There's so many more things I'd like to be able to do if I had the time and free my time up too. Hopefully all I would do is travel within, back and forth, and then go out and see all the, the subscribers and the followers from the TikTok portion of the ministry, and be able to go just share, because it's an all covenant. This new covenant of flesh is all flesh, not just one high priest, heavens, Aaron and Levite. So there's everybody. Yeah, and you're more than welcome. I already told you that. I tell them I got to get off my butt and get just the roof done, but it's a big task, and cleaning and stuff. I've been just a little overcome with this whole 1 year point with what's going on with, my son being missing. Yeah, there's going to be always work that can be done out here. I'm telling you, Buck, there's things that, and somebody can just come here and relax too and not do anything. Just enjoy the fruits of the labor that's always already here. and we can improve anything that's here. We as a ministry can make this even better for everybody in the ministry to, like I said, it's all off grid. Maybe someday I've talked with Kevin, we'll push all this stuff up front, these cabins, and put them on the grid, and leave this back portion of the property off the grid back there, where all this other, it's a 20-acre parcel, a piece that's 40 acres. I mean, this is a big spread. That's like, you go look at 40 acres and it's like, holy crap, that's like 10 city blocks, whoa, that's a massive amount of land. So, um, great place to homestead, great place to be off the grid. If you get down, because you can dig down and get into this geothermal. There's places that aren't conducive to get down in the ground to do these things. Here you can. You live under the ground. Oh my God! So you're a mole and you stay under there? No, you have a place to beat the heating and the cooling bill. Most of your time is spent on the surface, but when you need to cool off, or it just makes sense. You don't use such things as on-demand hot water heaters. Dig your own well, have your own power source, charge controller, inverter, batteries, bank, all these things, and you can become self-sufficient and then have an abundance of time. I was looking at on this thing about the 30 best lakes in Oregon to fish, because I've been really wanting to throw a pole in the water in forever. Been about a dozen years since I've even had a fishing license, I think, and fish. Man's got to ask permission to feed his family, feed himself. What a world it's become. So, but anyways, probably 20 of those lakes of the 30 are right here in the high desert. And I'm talking about like all these other trout that I don't ever remember hearing growing up. Tiger trout, and I've always remembered German brown, cutthroat, rainbow. Well, there was one other trout, bullnose. Maybe there's one other, but all these trout now that I've seen, all speckled trout. Okay, yeah, there was a speckled trout. But all these other trout that I see, these tiger and albinos and all these other trout, man, these are all like, I guess they're just native. I don't remember any of these. And I grew up fishing all the time. Talk about fish tanks to fishing. I haven't done that. So that would be something to enjoy doing around here. And I can imagine if somebody liked to do something like this, this is an outdoor paradise for people who love to be outdoors. These hot springs, again, I've been looking in more of this, how important getting in this water too, and some of these springs is a healing process for our body. And it's been used since forever because of the mineral content that's in the water. There's energy that flows through these minerals that, and I'm not into all this stuff, but maybe if I had more time, I wasn't so pound pressed to do all these things for the mystery. I get out and enjoy my time and do some other things like this. I have to keep away from expansion in my back and heat. So probably I have to steer clear from something like that, because I can't let that sciatic nerve get any far away. It needs to stay right where it's at. I should have had the surgeries and done it. I didn't. So, but anyways, going out on the road and moving around and doing things like that. But there are ways that I can still, I'm sure, gain. And I don't, it's kind of as a bummer, man. Heat, that's a thing. You expand, you break that, then you get that sciatic nerve. I mean, if it moves even just a pin hair, I'll get all shrimped up and get all messed up. So yeah, I have to stay away. But anyways, those are beautiful things like that. The hot springs are around here in ways that people can enjoy all these amazing amenities that are just surrounding, within, an hour or two's drive. You can go to you never have to leave this high desert. And although you could, because you go to Klamath and go down that way in a couple hours and be at Crater Lake and do something. I mean, it is just they call this like central. I'm not in central Oregon, but I'm down to the southeast, a little bit more, but it's just has so much history. It's just riddled with historical record. The oldest clothing on this rock was found right here, multiple sets of footwear, the 18,000-year-old camel tooth in Riley. Somebody come out here and just do a tour guide of this area, do a side job. There's just this place is a blank canvas. So that's why I was thinking somebody like Kinetic, coming out here because he's got that background in, auto. We could literally provide like a big, place for him to work his dunes because he loves, he's a he likes, I think it's, bikes and that type, and he does, darn it, what is it he does? I'm trying to remember exactly what he's into, which I think he does like off road, stuff is off road, but most of it, I don't think he's pavement, Um, but anyways, there's a set of sand dunes. There's an MX track out over here. He can open up a garage. And at one time, before this whole COVID nonsense came in, I was full deep invested in a business that I called Rabbit Tracks to provide a safe, more like a go-kart type place and not the sand dunes where you're catching air and doing all these things. And, like a park, like in space intervals. So nobody gets close enough because they're all throttled down to the same speed, whether they're big bikes. Kinetic. He could come out here, start an automobile shop, just do side works, never ever buck crack the bottom end of a motor and make filthy and money. And I'm not talking because I don't think Kinetic cares about money. I don't get that he's that kind of guy. I just don't, just he's been with the ministry for a while, but he couldn't make it in abundance, and then he'd be the perfect, because like this year they canceled the Dune Fest out here, out at the coastline where there's a massive sea. A lot of people come out here to the Oregon Christmas Valley sand dunes to ride because it gets really crowded out there. And they say this is as good, or if not, and some people like coming out here better. I mean, and there is such a flow of traffic out here, Buck, now it doesn't stop. Before the COVID, it would slow down during the winter, but not since the COVID. People have been wanting to get away, and a lot of these people are I'm talking middle and upper middle class, and some of these people are upper. I mean, Kinetic, some of their outfits, I'm sure he's got this same thing. I know he's got something, but he's tied up in a different kind of. He's got haulers. He's probably got some of these things with these side. People are heavily invested. Some of these people come out here, they got $1 million, $1.5 million, with the side-by-sides, the hauler, the truck that's hauling, the F5 million or the Chevy, whatever, with grills big as small cars, just the grill. I have Silver Lake sand dunes right down the road. Nice. So, but anyways, he could come out here and it would just be a paradise for somebody like him because he can run a small shop, probably employ somebody to be more of a hand and move himself around. And then again, as this Dune Fest, as they've been holding year after year, was canceled this year. And I'm talking about this as a massive promotion where they bring in stages and sound systems. I mean, multiple, probably 20 or 30 stages get set up, promotions, and I can't imagine how they're not allowing it this year. What it was that canceled it, but you could do it out here. You could do the same thing because this is, the sand dunes. And I've talked to even, there's another guy out here that I think would be a good part of it. And I've done promotions, things like this, set up sound stages and gone out and did all the sponsorship because this takes a massive amount of, in racing, to make race cars go around in circles fast, it takes lots and lots of money, which takes lots and lots of sponsorship. You don't race. I've raced, I've done that. My mom's married to a race car driver, whatever. My brothers did all this promotional. So I have kind of some experience in it, but it's sponsorship that makes cars go fast and in circles or straight or whatever. In competition, it is that sponsorship. So getting those sponsors is a big part of it. So it's what's so crazy to see all this go away because there's a tremendous amount of money that's poured into the Oregon coast through tourism, which it lacks now. It had massively through the 70s and the 80s and 90s, a great place, but kind of died out through the mill towns dying out down there off the coast in the Oregon coast. The mill towns all died, all that dried up. So the tourism died up. I mean, there was beautiful things to do on the coast and stuff, but that was a big portion. So this Dune Fest being canceled is a major, major thing. So this is like an open door out here. And again, I talked about it, and I'm not afraid. If somebody did it, great, do it. I don't care. But it takes quite planning to go in and maybe, again, ask some of these local Can-Am, Polaris, all their dealers, like, hey, I'm holding this event. It's, it's a nonprofit event. Here's the sponsor, Food for, Deschutes County or something, nonprofit or whatever organization attached to it. So contributions could be, because you can still bring in a tremendous amount of money generation that you give away. You just have to, I've done this before with my brothers, both do this. And this is where they made, their millions of dollars doing this, it's marketing. But anyway, so if you market an event like this and you do giveaways, you're not going to have any problems bringing people out here. And there's already tons of people. So if you just knew how to market it, like I said, I already even came up with a name, because they have the Dune Fest, out here, and they have Sand Fest. There's another one where they've done, it's called Sand Fest. People have kind of duplicated another, I forget where they do Sand Fest at. I think that's in Vegas. They do Sand Fest. But this place is notorious. People come from all over, even the world, but come here. I mean, there's no rentals out here. They do that over at the Oregon coast over there. They rent out. Somebody could do that out here, a rental property, just renting out, dune rentals, side waivers or whatever. And it is what it is. You got credit cards, you can do this and make it still work. And, this Sandfest, Dune Fest was canceled. So out here we have this, Table Rock. I'm right next to this, is the icon. Stop, Tango. Table Rock. We have Fort Rock, which is that big, massive, ring, what they call a tuff or fisher, where those oldest clothing was found. You got the town. You got Black Hills, Crack in the Ground. Tango, stop. You're overdoing it. If I keep letting you in and out, you're just going to keep doing it. Like a kid, you're getting your own way. So get up there and lay down. But what I was going to do was look into doing this. And so again, with all these features that we have out here, kind of going off the Dune Fest and Sand Fest is play off the verbiage. I've done marketing. And so because we have this massive, open fissure that was called Crack in the Ground out here, where this rock separated and it literally pissed water and lava at the same time. You can tell how the formation, I'm taking 6,000 years ago when this water event from above and below happened. You can visually see this with your eyes. That would be a tour to take people on, just the things around here. But because there is Table Rock and Black Hills and Fort Rock and, the Oregon sand dunes, I was going to do the first annual Sand in Your Crack event, playing off the word sand and crack, and kind of like, what's the worst part about, or the best part about drinking or having sex on the beach? Getting that sand in your crack. So anyways, the first annual Sand in Your Crack event out here in Christmas Valley, Oregon, promotions. And I know how to do radio. I've already done all the voiceover for it. I used to do it for my brothers and did their alarm system company or whatever, some of their promotions. But I pulled people like Kinetic, he could go hog wild on that out here and hold an event where he could literally promote and bring in and give away money for donations and do things like bring in certain, if you're involving and he's in racing, then he can bring in some of this, paraphernalia, if you will. Like I remember my brothers got this Dale Creasy hit the wall, one of these, or was it Warren Johnson? I think it was Dale Creasy hit the wall. And he had or it was Warren Johnson. These were NHRA drivers. Because they had worked for NASCAR, they got it signed by all the NHRA, Columbia Drag Boat Association, some of the monster truck drivers, because they worked with that NHRA and they're part of that. And then because they had worked for NASCARs. I mean, that helmet had, I can't remember. And they were really good at documenting all those, signatures on that. And I did all the auctioning off of that Simpson Bandit helmet. I can't remember how much money it brought, thousands of dollars. And they gave it away, to Food for Lane County. The money went to Food for Lane County. I think that was or Children's Miracle Network. I think that's one of these organizations they had attached to be able to give the money away. So it does. There are events like this that doesn't all. I mean, they can help if you, especially if you pick a good organization to attach yourself to help yourself promotions and so you can walk into a place like Bend. I don't know if they've got a Polaris dealer and say or Can-Am saying, "Hey, I want one of those Can-Ams. I need it. Here's your promotion. You can give me that, or that. You want a gold promotion or silver, or a copper sponsorship. If you give us, you can be the presenting sponsor. It's open right now. This could be the, Bend Can-Am first annual Sandy Crack event in Christmas Valley, Oregon. And we plan on doing it next year. We'll have stages and we'll do giveaways and we'll have all the food carts out there and music. And even Kevin came up with this the other day. Man, this is awesome. And we'll have some UFC or the local PFL, the Portland Fighting, this mixed martial arts jiu-jitsu, and have them out there. That goes perfect with that type of event. See, Kinetic would be. You got the rabbit track set up out here where he's doing that, where he has a business where he can literally rent out little, I already had like 9 of them, these knockoff Chinese, I forget what they call them. But I'd bought in a fleet of them and then I sold them because everything switched with the COVID. I thought everything was going to be, could have been total lockdown. They're going to let anybody go anywhere. And I'd tied up a lot of money in, buying 4-wheelers, that I could throttle down an adult size one so I could make a track out here so people could come. And maybe the whole idea back then was if people couldn't go to the dunes and you had a family of 5 where 3 of them were kids, do you have 5 quads? Do you have a place to store those? Do you have all the gear? Do you have the gas? Do you have the trailer? Do you have the way to haul them? If you don't, you can have the experience because they're not renting them out there and you don't want to just go jumping and doing that. You're going to hurt yourself. So you could still have the experience. It would be more of a visual playground. I wanted to get a whole bunch of old playground equipment, like the big, look at what the cost it is for one of those slide playground rockets with a missile or whatever. Even just the price of a merry-go-round right now is crazy. But set this up as a business too, where that could bring in a substantial. We were talking about renting this stuff out for like $100 an hour. I mean, there is a place in town, Ben, that does rentals that I can compete with it, or and do the same thing. Sign waivers, same thing. People liability. People do things, and so keep yourself from liability. But the sky's the limit out here. So if I could get this off the ground and I could get more bodies, Buck, I could. I can't imagine with this ministry. There's the cabin rentals. You can come stay the night because you're just part of the ministry. Yeah, they're just paying for the experience. Imagine. See what I'm saying, Buck? You got it. I'm talking, Buck. There's nobody's. This is like this. Ooh, there's none of that. These are throttled down, and I can restrain them. Remember, I can put a restrictor and retard the carburetor so they can't, or the throttle so they can, and then let them out with a big enough track on intervals that nobody ever catches up with anybody. So not even worried about them hitting each other. It's not some racetrack. It's a wow. And then it was all about putting down all this neat red rock and try to get broken up, tire and put all grass and sod and all these different surfaces you drive over, but you don't ever get your tires off the ground. Not that experience. It's like, oh, I'm riding a quad. Oh, and I can see my kid up above me or behind me, and we're all going around the track, and it'd be easy because they're throttled down. It's not like you're beating the snot at them. The whole idea was then too to sell them out into the market. Hey, do you want to take this and go ride that at the dunes? Well, unthrottle this thing and you can go take off on it. It will do that. And there you go. Now we got a line to sell off our used equipment to keep bringing in the newest equipment. As soon as they put out the new one, the old one's already been ordered. And then somebody like Kinetic could take care of all the maintenance. It's not like you're doing a ton of maintenance. Remember, these things they're throttled down. They're go-karts. And like I said, I'm really throttling them down. I mean, man, don't you think they should go a little faster? No. And actually, I was going to have a little figure 8 track, send them one way, make them turn around, go the other way so they can learn how to turn. And if they can't do that, then don't put them out on the track, this little trial. And, a safe play. And then two, the only reason I didn't get it going, and is because I couldn't get that side by side, or when I was trying not to buy the side by side, I didn't have the money for that. But I was trying to buy one of these other kind of like a go-kart where I can put in somebody who was wheelchair accessible. I wanted handicap accessibility before I opened my doors out here. You know what I'm saying? Well, no doors, but right, open this rabbit tracks park up. I wanted to have the accessibility for people with disabilities. And I didn't feel like I wanted that experience from day one. I wanted people to be able to come out here with it was a family fun park. So it needed to be able to, accommodate everybody, because there are people who are, wheelchair bound, that if I had the right vehicle, I could put them in there safely and let them, with their parent, take them out onto the track with their brothers and sisters and get the same experience. Like we're saying, Buck. So that's what it was about. It wasn't about speeding and having a good time, because there's the sand dunes where we could obviously offer the sales of these knockoff. It is what it is. You can't even get this stuff anymore. I can't imagine if everything's not being shipped by China, this could be a little bit more difficult to get your hands on. Now, it's not that it can't be done. There's still, I bought some of these, not ordered them and put them together, some of these used where for Christmas or one of these pagan holidays, somebody dumps the bike one time, it flips over. Don't even scratch it. Kid never rides it again. You killed our daughter. You about killed our little boy. They spilled the bike. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. They fell off. They didn't even spill the bike. They fell off the bike. They jumped off. They don't want to ride it anymore. They got their little foot run over. Get him in their head. Brand new. I got a couple, 2 or 3 of those out of the 9 or whatever that I'd had and ordered some. But there's ways, again, that you can keep this thing afloat. And I'm sure there's, whatever. Do the thing with Donald McNugget with his old, I'll get you some free nuggets or whatever. Free taxes. See, Mr. Ronald McScrooge. But anyways, it can still go on. And what an asset that would be for the ministry too, right? Look at the money it could generate. It continue to pour in, ways to produce food. Well, you took the money from that and you built more food gardens underground, bought more Mylar bags, bought another freeze dryer, set up a commissary in town. Hey, we decided to open up a taco truck in town in the ministry. Let people here to have some little extra income, something to do, more way to use our organic food that we have here. We now have a commissary, a food cart. It could be whatever, and it could all be for the ministry. I don't want it. Remember, I just want to go on the road. Fly like an eagle to the sea, even the wings of an angel. No, I want to go to all continents, all 180 countries, and travel, because this is a worldwide ministry. So it'd be a blessing, this little addition here, Silver Lake Gold, just a little backup channel that I had, talk about economics. And here we are, doing that because it got a little Reich, but that's okay. Shh, I got a secret that I want you to talk about some things. So anyways, that's hopefully where this will go again. And I'm looking forward to having this location, have the freeze dryer, have a studio. I really want to produce better content for the ministry. And, at all locations, I'd like to have a place to go in and clip, be able to do actual right now, like cover a little bit of live updating too on what's going on, boots on the ground type thing. We're not supposed to take our head out of the game, stick our head in the sand like some kind of, all right, we know, talk about birds, but we're supposed to be alert, stay alert, and be watching. So getting updated on what's going on around us is very important, so we could be prepared to get out of the way of chaos, and and then maybe be charitable, at times when it's needed the most, when times are down. And that's what he tells us, is to be with the people that have been, that have less, and the widowed and the sick and the weary and all those people, and to help those people, especially in times of need. So that's a beautiful blessing. It's not I don't think Father's creating this out of nothing. It's not being created out of thin air. It takes physical bodies to do this. I've been so blessed to be able to create through his works in his hands, through getting me above my 4th point of contact, my rear end, to do what's already done here. So hopefully more will join us. Um, Whenever God's time is, I don't want to make plans or time because it's in his time or his plans. He always wrecks that or changes the time. So, but there is ways out here because there is so much already here that it can already provide, an abundant lifestyle. If somebody is self-motivated, obviously motivated by the word, they're going to just thrive out here and be able to give to others, provide what an experience that would be to come out again. And as I said, to have somebody out here for, with a disability come out here and ride on one of these, desert, four-wheelers that would accommodate them and, you know, do the same thing, and don't treat them the same, see the same experience. They go the same speed as their brother, as their mom, as their dad. And it's an experience that I think they would enjoy. Um, so, and eventually too, maybe we can provide housing out here at the ministry for others, housing, places that people who do need to, that are just tired of the struggle, say, hey, I want to try that, man. I think this is for me. This is why I think I'm the good fit out there. I can be self-motivated, be my own boss, get up off, my tail and put in time, not be a strain on others, not be a strain to myself, so I can actually create the things that will create abundance so that I can actually flourish, not just survive, but thrive in an environment where a lot of things around us are getting more expensive, degrading, collapsing the system, and they're bringing in a new, but, there, I think that, again, that's hopefully what this ministry can provide, is a whole separate system from what we know now as this current beast system, so that people can partake in their own, organic, holistic, ministry. Part of this is, I'm not saying you got to be, a stinking saint, a stinking saint. You can't be, we're not looking for perfection. I think Kennedy has a record. He's a prior, he got some history. I don't care about his history. Um, you know, you'll know them by their fruit. So, yeah, what an exciting time to continue to build out here. So that's the idea again, is to build on to the ministry, add to, and for that we can provide more abundance. So I'm excited. I've got to kind of take a dump here, or whatever that term, or get off the pot with this guy, and because he's kind of the guy that's going to probably have to be, little bump, prodded, like not a cattle prod, but he's made some steps that I haven't seen him make before. So hopefully he'll continue to, I want to see this guy live his dream. He wants to get on a boat and go see the world. And I think he can do, I really do. If he just, would, it's like that guy, I think is Oliver. I don't know if anybody's seen that guy, Oliver from Oregon. He got out of, I guess, the corporate or whatever, what he was. And then he decided to sell his stuff and buy a sailboat and sail to Hawaii. And he did it already. And man, they showed up and they're treating, he just turned into a stinking sensation, and I don't think Gene wants that, because he's a super humble man, but, I think he could do it. I think he just needs to get in there and do something. He's very familiar with, the nautical, all the different instrumentation, and he has a really good vernacular. He understands, the verbiage. Sounds like he knows what he's doing. I think he just needs to do it. So this is one thing that he's trying to do by selling me this property, is to purchase this boat, and have some money to go on the road with, or put this, pirate legs, if you will. But think of the Flintstones, but paddle boat or whatever. But anyways, he knows what he's doing. He's looking for a sailboat, something he can sail. He wants to sail, and I think those things stay up. They're almost like a bobber out there in the water. They're almost near, I don't want to say, but near impossible to sink. They're really super. I showed that. I remember showing it with Kevin. They had a really bad storm out here in the Oregon coast. I was showing them some images of these boats getting slapped around, bam, 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 and because of that, comes all the way. What are you doing? Hold on a second. Let me see if these puppies are alert in a second here. I'll let you back in here. 5 minutes. All right, better get some ice cubes going here. We're kind of obviously got some ice cubes in here, but all right. Okay, either way, Father will provide. You know, like I said, there's just so much abundance out here. It's a near blank slate for somebody who could create on them. There's already been so much created here that, you know, somebody could come and bounce off of what's already here, and they'd obviously have to be a part of what's here already. So in time, when Father provides, like I said, I'll continue to do what I do out here. And so now the whole idea is to continue and have this expansion in town, and to be able to provide a place where nothing ever gets thrown away, and all this stuff can be preserved for long term. And that's a very important with the cycle of the sun. We've been seeing a tremendous amount of energy going, you know, into the core, or whatever you want to call it. It excites the magma. It heats that up in the, you know, below our feet, and that comes out. And on a cycle, it normally sends us into what is called a nuclear winter, because the sun blots out the sun is blotted out by particulate coming from volcanism, from a volcano. This has happened many more times on a cycle. The shutting down of the circulation of the Atlantic Ocean, that's something that causes us to go into a minima. We've already seen in the last 3 solar cycles. Now there's been an increase during this last solar cycle 25, but that's the problem, is it's the shield has already failed, you know, and they're not quite telling people that, and they know that, but you know, so there's lots of things that we can be preparing for, and you know, I think all these things are very survivable, and not just survive, but you can thrive through some of these cycles. And there's always people who do, and there's always people who make it, and because they're normally they get ahead of the wave, and they push off of that, and they ride the wave instead of letting the wave take them. If you've ever been in the ocean and surfed or bodyboarded or boogie boarded, you kind of got to get in front of it, or it'll just send you down to the bottom of the sand and pound you down at the bottom of the ocean like a washing machine or like a dryer, and tumble you. And don't take a breath, because if you do, you're going to drown. So that's a little exciting. But anyways, if you've ever done it and you can get out ahead of it, even with your body, you have to push yourself out in front of the wave, and you can ride this cycle. It's possible to not only survive this, but thrive in this environment. So many people who have or privileged information in these things, such as the cyclic information, are already very well prepared and very well, you know, in advance. And that's why you see such a changing too around you of the current system, because the old one is being collapsed so they can bring in their new digital system, and tokenized and credit scored by well, your social credit scoring, kind of like a social security card. That'll be a social credit score that will give you a contract for your, well, your stipend or your basic income allowed. So everything will be regulated. Not everything will be controlled. That is communism, if you will. And that's how it's going to work. And whether people want it to happen or not, it doesn't matter. You hang on to the old system, that's where you're headed to, the new one, and it's already happening. It's already being done. And so you need to try to find a way to become your own system, and that's totally possible, like I said, to thrive. And if they come for people who have their own system, so be it. At least you took yourself out and you weren't participating in the current beast system that's in play. So it's taxing, it's horrible what's being provided to the masses, um, whether it's food or drink or entertainment or education, or it's just not wholesome, and it's mostly man-made. And Father made such wonderful things. If we went back to the ways of old, we'd find there are some amazing things that have been done and that are tried and tested, and like before, and had worked for thousands of years. And that's probably again where they're headed as well, with their tech. But that's okay. I would go back to the old system if I was you, and not try to rely so much on this tech. That's the problem with our current society, is why they won't convenience. They can have it all now and not worry about, having stores for later. So I'm thankful that he made me wise, and a chipmunk, or a squirrel. Nuts, huh? Who's nuts here? The chipmunk's got a brain the size of a pea, a squirrel, and it does not need to be told to put up nuts. What are you going to sit there like a duck in a pond and just get picked off? The wings of an angel is what he said. Wise as a serpent and gentle as a dove. So you have an exit plan too. That's another thing. In a fight for everything you have, fight for, is it all worth it? Is any of this dirt so worthy that you gotta, you know, maybe putting something in a separate place and space would be a better store, or a cache, not like in change, but like in maybe a food store cache, CACHE, not CASH. But again, that's where, again, it takes time. Nothing happens overnight. I need to remind myself, not to, there's no quick fix here. Everything is a process, like baptism and redemption and repentance and salvation and all these, like, we have to endure to the end if we want to be saved. So where you put your treasure up really matters. Having some extra oil is a wise thing. It's better to have and not need than need and not have. Um, as a veteran, was always taught preparing to fail. All right, don't be a failure. Don't prepare. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. That's all you got to do, is just sit around and do nothing, and you'll fall right on your face every single time. I mean, there may be people who are charitable out there and hand out, but normally like to help people who like to help themselves. So it's kind of how Father works. That's how this, is a backup channel for High Desert Faith and Truth, and Grace and Truth is here on YouTube as well. It just kind of mirror the same thing. I don't sup with vipers. That's food. We don't feed people who are, especially with the word more than anything. I mean, you've got to give everybody the word, or love thy neighbor like thy enemy, like thy love thyself. But, I don't do religion, so nothing in that book makes me religious, a certain denomination. So I put up my store for afterlife. This flesh, death, dies daily to self and is born from above again. So that's just what he makes me do. So, but again, he said legs on faith and have extra oil and trim your lamps, because you don't know. I mean, it could happen. It could have already died, and hope your treasure is already whatever you did while you walked this rock. But as we're here, we are charitable, is part of loving. The word agape, and that is something we're supposed to be, is loving. And love involves patience and being kind to others. So give them the word, put the word on them. That's the best tide you can give somebody, is the light. Give them the light, put it at the top of the house. He said, don't hide that light in a basket or behind a, in a bushel. Definitely put it at the top of your house, and he will speak for you. He'll speak the light. So show them to the light. And so one way to not be in fear and darkness is to have a place where you'll have something where you don't have to fight for something if you have something in another place that's enlightening. And most people won't do that. Um, they put their treasure in, convenience, or thinking that, there's always going to be a supermarket, the power's always going to be on, the government's always going to be there to save them. Uh, and there's two kinds of people that they think like that, right? They think every time something happens, there's bad things, the government, like, what do we see right now going on in California? Is the government there to save anybody? Is that what's going on? Is that what's really happening? They're saving people, you know. They're guarding the federal building. They're guarding their own building. They're saving themselves, and they're not going to save you. And save is the word sozo, or salvation. And you have to endure to the end if you want to be saved. That's what the word says. So remember, so you have to put something up for a rainy day. Keep some treasure. Don't spend it all now. Put up extra oil. And he said, have your loins. That means you got to get up off your butt. And girded in my service. Girded, that's an action word, right? So kind of like believing. Believe is an action word. It's a verb. It's not a thought. You can't believe in a God. What the hell are you talking about? You have not studied the words at all, have you? Well, believe in this. You can't believe is a verb. Faith is a noun. So I want to get with the phonics. Oh, wait, that's spelling, like a spelling bee. Did you get stung by the spelling bee and go to public school and so you go with the flow, watch television programs, get programmed? I get stung, yes. Did you get stung by the spelling bee? Started spelling curses in cursive. Did you have the TV guide to guide you? Put your currency in the bank, go with the flow. A bank, like on the side of a river, like currency flow, cash flow, like verbal voodoo on you, they play like it's you. Yes, bonded, and treasure, you're carded. I got to card you by birth. I thought you had to be 18 or 21. No, you are a merchandise. It's a game to them. You've been merchandise by birth, contract, blood, contract. Your kin sold you out. But all right, we thank Father for the treasure that's here, and that we're supposed to use it wisely and put our treasure, at the top of our house, and let it shine. Bling bling, baby. Shine bright like a diamond. Not to pride, not not shine above others. That's different. So not like some fancy Rolex watch or something right like that, right? So that's a little overboard. All right, that's almost near gluttony, right? I mean, a man could have a watch, but you need to have so many diamonds. Cool. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Spending some time here on the backup channel. Appreciate your conversation. And go out there and preparedness is a lifestyle. Hope you can go tell me the king is coming. They got their King Festival here coming up. Remember, No King Festival? Things getting pretty nutty out there. Be safe out there, but careful. He said, those who say peace, safety, shalom, sudden destruction. So put on the armor of God. That's what you need to do. That's what I tell myself constantly. Daily armor, daily bread. So, all right, there goes Buck. So it's just one left of you. I don't know who's left, but thanks for coming in. I don't know if we'll do this all day here, but it's a tiny little channel. What is 100? I don't know why we're not getting any extra subscribers. We've done some live streams, and like that last one, it said 14 new subscribers, but no new channel additions to the numbers, actual subscribers. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube's holding us back. That's okay. We don't need to blow up here in your face like an iPhone or an Android. So they don't need to chip you. You'll bring your tracking device wherever you go. Your Apple eye is the apple of your eye. Come on, doggy. You'll be all right for a minute. My puppies are, well, the one puppy, he's been in and out like a kid. He wants in, he wants out, he wants in, he wants out. So there we go. Back down to 0. So, okay, well, better get my 4th point of contact up and going here and get some more work done for the ministry. And you see this, you want to make a donation, there's always links in the description or the bio. You can do that by contacting our Predestined4light at gmail.com. And if you want to become a part of the ministry here, something you heard in here, you might be the one that fits the bill, or if you will, or well, his will, but hitting a thumbs up, that's a good way to support this channel, Silver's Light Gold, and commenting after the video. That's another way you can add to the ministry. Add a comment as the backup channel, Silver's Light Gold. So lots of content on here. Trying to get to where you can get some more content produced on a little bit better, maybe a laptop, something like that, or an iPad or something. We'll figure that out though. So thank you for the time and the ability and the place and the space to do this. This will go out to the whole wide world. I'll make this one public. I'll go and make the other one public as well. So some more content for the channel. Maybe somebody will see it. Maybe it'll pick up another body here. Another one will be added to the flock, if you will. And so not sure what it'd take to spark this algorithm, but maybe we'll try this a little bit later or something like that. Do some more content creation here at Silver Rock Ranch at the Silver's Light Gold channel. So thanks for whoever joined us, and appreciate your time. Takes quite a bit to get silver out of the ground, a lot of effort, but you can't be making time, or you can't dig up time. So might dig up some old bones or something, somebody back in time, but yep, very important. So thanks for everybody who spent their time here. Father's sent the eyes to see if anyone, just one, sees it. I've always said that's what is a blessing. So it's not in vain. And I know we had some eyes. Thank you, Buck, for coming in. The other ones who joined us early on the earlier stream. So a couple hours we're doing here at a time. That's all right. Putting out 2 hours, 2 witnesses. Good to see you again. We'll be back. Me, myself, and I. No, what puppies and whatever here. Like I said, maybe we'll get a fish tank here in the future, and we'll do that too. So, okay, thank you again for the blessings of this beautiful desert, high desert, that I have such a beautiful view of the sky and get stuck on them stars out there so much. Kevin saw that, actually, that plane that came by, that refueling plane the other day. It's such a massive, the plane that fuels itself is massive, and then the one above it, the actual fuel, is just tremendous. So it goes over this, it's on the flight path. It comes different times a year. You can see it when it gets, later in the season, in the fall. It's nighttime by the time it comes over, but it's a whole different, but you can see it in the daytime. So we got to see it the other day. It was pretty neat. Lots of things out here in this high desert that, man, your eyes don't know what you're seeing. So what a view of the stars, the Milky Way galaxy, all the way across from the, southwest to the northeastern portion, or whatever it does, this rotation. But Big Dipper dancing right above your head, around the pole star. Kind of a neat thing here. Kevin pointed that out too, about the location of this Big Dipper over the top of out here at in the high desert. So what a view of the stars. Some of these, we've been having some pretty incredible sunsets again. not the colors, but man, that sky was so orange. We did a live stream yesterday, and here on this, and I think we caught some lightning on it too. It was pretty cool. So a lot of energy out in this valley, here at Silver Rock Ranch, and so yeah, I got to continue. I got some things that need mended up. I did water and some things yesterday, so maybe I'll come on later and let this charge up the phone a little bit more and go do some more work out here, some physical work. And I've got some other work I need to do, some things here too, more um, on the internet, answer some questions and stuff. All right. Anyways, much blessings. See you guys again here at Silver Rock Ranch at Silver's Like Gold. What a blessing it is to have, multiple channels, a backup channel too here to go provide some more content. Although I'm not talking to anybody now, it's okay. I don't do this again. Just creating content. People might come back in if just one person sees it. That's cool. Again, I'm always, as I've created channels, America Ever After, go check that channel, Truth Viral Television, Predestined for Light. That's this channel under another name, but there's Predestined for Light on TikTok, the number 4, and the FOR channel. There's about 50,000 plus, or more subscriber followers that make up this whole, dozen years or so on this platform. But I'm thankful, Father, to have the avenue to do it and provide a place. I'm not having to just speak to the walls. Um, and eyes will see this. I'm sure that somebody will put their eyes on this. Will they make it to the end of the video live stream? Probably not. The chances are up. We're losing the. I'll probably have to lose that here in the cabin. It's nice and cool in the cabin still, but get these doors shut up and stuff here and get my tail to work out there and get something done out there. Like I said, I've got work in both places that need done. Lots of things. Geothermal garden's got to be built. That's a whole task in itself. They got to take probably a whole month to get that thing completed, and still need to purchase materials such as the roofing for that. So again, you want to make a Cash App or a PayPal contribution for materials out here, whatnot. We're doing the other ministry up in town. Hopefully put a studio in there and produce better content, some channel content. Maybe we can get some bodies. I don't know if you're that body or not. Predestined4light at gmail.com. Predestined, the number 4, Predestined, Predestined, the number 4, LAIGHT at gmail.com. So that is the email if you want to reach me. If you think you have one that would, again, fit coming out here, homesteading, off grid, that type of thing. We're getting close to the 2-hour marker, so we'll shut it down by that time and hope that you, if you're one who made it to the end, appreciate you watching the whole live stream. We did another 2-hour stream early, so we got a half a day's labor in here for the ministry. And we didn't bring any contributions in, but time. Anybody just being a part of it is adding to the ministry. So thanks for everybody again who joined us earlier. Buck was in here. Saw some familiar faces. I think earlier we had Connection in here. Ross joined us yesterday. So it's good to see some familiar faces. And I don't know what's going on with this public setting or whatever's going on with the private or public, but I'm going to try to get this one up as it says it's going up as private, but make both of them public so we get these out there into the all across the whole wide world. So love you, those that are in the narrow way, and remember, straight is the gate. So going to be a long, narrow road. It's a continual narrowing, like I said, that leads to that straight gate. So if I don't see you until then, see you on the other side without the body, right? Back to who we came before we were this meat suit. We were who we were. I am what I am. I know that I'm not this meat suit. I am who I'm going to be after this meat suit, who I was before. This is just a temporary state of flesh. So wrestle not against flesh and blood, Paul said, but against principalities, powers, the rulers of the darkness of this world. It's all spiritual now. Spiritual wickedness in high places. All right, Silver's Like Gold out here at Silver Rock Ranch. Thanks for your time. Go watch some channel content. Hit the thumbs up. Go watch some past videos. Go over to High Desert Faith and Truth Ministries. Go to see Grace and Truth Ministries here on YouTube, and we'll see you on the next broadcast. That means to sow seeds. So, all right. I hope you go out there and share this video content to any platform. I'm not going to copy it for sharing any of it, biting whatever you want. And links are in the description for the Predestined for Light if you want to contact me and make contribution if you have the abundance. All right, trying to create abundance with food out here. So hopefully this feeds you some spiritual meat, if you will, not some watered down milk. All right. Welcome to the new age. Welcome, Master Revelation, Master Apocalypse. Whoa.